Leeds have just won 4-0. This time away at Watford. Back to winning ways again after the FA Cup and that dross that we saw in that game. But look, back to winning ways. Leeds United 4, Watford 0. And we did it differently today because when we actually look at the statistics here, let's have a little look. 39% possession to Leeds today, which you think, oh, that's a bit different for a Leeds performance. 39% possession, 20 shots, 7 on target, 4 goals, done. Like, we don't need the possession. We've proven that we can play a different way tonight in terms of basically being really clinical and scoring a lot of goals. Goals coming from Daniel James, 2 from him, Mano Solomon and Joel Piroe. Now, actually, do you know what? I'm just going to have to go on SofaScore here for a second because sometimes when there's that many goals in the game, I actually forget a little bit what's happening in terms of the actual goals and the way that they went in. So let's try and get this game up here because it actually shows where the shots were from. The shot maps and things like that, and your average positions. Obviously, you can't see this, but I'm just looking at it now. Here are the goals. Let's have a look. Look, Leeds really didn't have to dominate this game, and Watford were all right. Look, Watford came out from the back. Watford created a couple of chances. They forced Meslier into a couple of saves. They hit the bar and stuff as well. But Leeds were really clinical with their chances, and Watford made mistakes that made it far too easy for us. When we actually look at the first goal, that was Dan James, and that was from the centre of the box. I think that was when Kayembe just passed it straight to him in the box, and he just ran through and scored. Dan James' second goal, Leeds were on the counter-attack, great break, and Piroe played it right into the path of Dan James, who just blasted it past the goalkeeper. 2 really good goals from Dan James. They had a couple of chances, yes they did. Then we had a goal from Solomon, who ran across the face of the box, had a shot from distance, it deflected, a little bit like the one we conceded against Millwall in the FA Cup, to be honest. It deflected and bobbled past the goalkeeper. That was 3-0. And then Joel Piroe with some really, really good feet to finish the final one. Really nimble. Took a couple of touches around Pollock, their defender, who, let's be honest, it wasn't the greatest attempt to win the ball from him. He kind of slid out at Joel Piroe, but he just took it round him and slotted it in the bottom corner. It was great. And look, 4-0, it could have been more as well. Leeds really, really showing our class today. And in terms of the attacking momentum, it was, look, a lot of it was, the first half was almost entirely Leeds. The second half, Watford came into it a lot more, but then Leeds scored when we were in the ascendancy, and that was all she wrote. And look, it's another clean sheet as well, another one where Meslier had a really good performance. If we're going to start talking about the players, Meslier had a good performance, obviously gets himself the clean sheet. Bogle and Firpo, both good, getting forward, crossing the ball into the box, probably Firpo slightly edging it in terms of quality in this game. Then you've got Ampadu and Rodon, again, both really, really solid. Of course, Ampadu struggled a little bit in that Millwall game in the FA Cup, but look, Leeds were much, much better today, really a lot better. Gruev and Tanaka in the midfield. I thought Gruev came back in because Firpo was playing on the left-hand side and Gruev's a bit more of a defensive player. And you've also got the fact that Watford have quite a lot of physical players in their midfield. So it was important that somebody like Gruev was in there today to be able to have that kind of stability for Leeds. Tanaka as well, of course, bringing that calmness, that composure in there. I thought he was really good. Solomon, he won himself man of the match on SofaScore. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he was decent. But for me, it's got to be Dan James for man of the match. Either Dan James or Aronson, because I also think that Aronson put himself about a lot. He did a lot of good running, a lot of good passing, a lot of good dribbling as well, all round. I thought Aronson was really good in this game. Dan James, of course, getting himself 2 goals. Two really good finishes as well. As the ball came through to him, just bangs it in the back of the net twice. Really good finishes from him. In the past, you might have seen him miss chances like that, but this Dan James is certainly heating things up for Leeds, and he's scoring goals. Joel Peru scores another one as well, which puts him on 14 goals for the season. It puts him on 14 goals and 5 assists, so that's actually 19 goal contributions so far for Joel Peru, which is really, really good. You had Ramazani came on. He looked like a bright spark as well. Nonto didn't do too much when he came on. Same can be said about Rothwell and Mateo Joseph as well. Mateo Joseph again getting the ball in the box after a really good run from Ramazani and just giving it straight to a Watford player through a poor touch. So he just needs to get his mojo back. He needs a bit of confidence because he's lacking it at the moment. He really is. But on the positive side of things, like I said, Leeds didn't have to dominate the possession today to win the game. It showed us a side of Leeds that are a lot more clinical, able to put the ball in the back of the net, and the confidence is just absolutely flowing through this first team now. It's definitely shown us that this is definitely our first team in terms of personnel, with obviously looking at the guys who were in that Millwall game. There's a lot of them where you could say, okay, well, one of them could come in, two of them could come in, and it wouldn't be the end of the world to interrupt the first team. But at the moment, this is definitely our strongest 11. And look, we did really, really well in this game in terms of being clinical when finishing. When we look at our average positions, even though we didn't have that much of the ball, over half of our players are in the opposition half or nearly in the opposition half, and it's it's good to see that we were still being positive, still breaking on the counter-attack and showing a bit of a different side to our game, especially playing away from home, able to still go ahead and score 4 goals against Watford, who, look, Watford haven't been great over the last 5 games or whatever, but they've got a lot of players who are no slouches, decent championship players with a lot of experience like Moussa Sissoko, Imran Louza, Deli Bashiru, who's only 25, and so's Louza, but they've got decent experience behind them. Kiembe was really bad for them. Gave away the ball for our first goal and played a couple of terrible balls into touch. He got involved in a bit of the attacking play, but going forward, he really didn't cover himself in glory with those passes. But look, Leeds did enough to win again. When we look at the league, they've got our rivals around us have got some decently difficult matches coming up as well. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look. Let's go for Championship here, and we'll have a little look at what they've got, because at time of recording, obviously, on the night of the game, the only other games that have gone on are Coventry QPR, which they won 1-0. I don't need to go through them all. Don't know why I am. Burnley Hull is tomorrow night. Sunderland Luton is tomorrow night. And Sheffield United Middlesbrough is tomorrow night as well. So those are some big games for us. If all of those teams drop points, that will be so, so good for us, because at present, when we look at the table, we are, having played an extra game than them, mind, 5 points ahead of Sheffield United, 8 points ahead of Burnley. If Burnley lose and we stay 8 points ahead of them, and a ridiculous amount of goal difference ahead of them, and then you've also got Sunderland, who we are 10 points ahead of. So if any of those teams drop points, we're going to be really, really in a good position here for the run-in. So look, I'm very happy with what we've done tonight. We've won the game. We've done it in style. We've scored some good goals, and we've basically shown that championship, that FA Cup game was a total blip, and we're back at it now with a 4-0 win. Unbelievable goals, great performance, 4-0 victory. Can't ask for much more, can you? Other than maybe to hit that big red button down below. Thanks for watching Leeds Lately, and I shall see you in the next one.